Let's go!
Yeah, in the stress ghetto, kids test the devil to hit the next level.
Pay very close attention to what he says. Pompeo says this is a live exercise. And what you'll hear in the background is Donald Trump say, "You should have let us know." So again, I'm going to let it play over a couple times so you can hear it. It's very interesting. Take a listen.
This is not about retribution. This matters going forward. We're in a live exercise here to get this right. We need to make sure that we're in a live exercise here to get this right. We're in a live exercise here to get this right.
A lot of people, they call this thing the pandemic, which is it's almost spot on to what's happening, because everybody know that this was planned. You know, I mean, if you've been going through things like, the real TIs who have been targeted, things have been controlled your whole life. You see how things were organized. You could kind of put in perspective. You can see when things have been, planned for your demise, because that's what we've been enduring through our whole lives. The majority of us that's really going through it, right? So now that they're rolling this thing out on a mass scale, we can see, the different stages and the different steps that they've been using to, usher in this new world order, or, whatever they're planning, right? It's crazy. I mean, you can see it here, like in this picture right here. This is an amazing diagram for what is happening, in real life. First thing, with the fear, right, with the sickness, or where everybody all riled up and say, oh, there hundreds and thousands are dying and such. Like, we knew it was bull the whole time. I mean, yes, there were people who lost their lives. There were people who got sick, and rest in peace to them. But it was nothing like they, broke down and tried to program people with using the media and social media, and you know what I mean? It was nothing compared to what they said. And, we all have our doubts on what that really is, right? As you can see, number 2 on the diagram, the information control and censorship. Yeah, that's the tool that they use, the media, programming, television, movies. Now they have social media, which is a more instant, you know what I mean? It's a more efficient tool that they can use, because it gets directly to you. They can program, they can censor, just like Brian too said, whatever is in your electronics, or whatever is in your feed is coming up, that has been tailored specifically for you. Number 3, the shutdown and social distancing, absolutely, right? And then number 4, Trump, it's all Trump's fault. We got 2 different. I mean, there's 2 spectrum. Well, actually, I'm gonna say 3, but I'm gonna just describe this 2 for now. You have the people who believe Trump is the savior and he's gonna end it all. And then you have the other side, like the left and the right. I don't follow that whole. I don't even subscribe to it. But then you have people who are just blaming Trump. Trump is the reason why, and such and such. Me personally, I believe they purposely handpicked Trump to be president for this time, just so people could blame him and say it's Trump's fault that all this is happening and such. And we know Trump is just somebody they inserted in there just for that specific reason. Like we know. I mean, that's a whole nother video about politics and presidents and everything, but they don't really have the power that they project, that that they want us to believe they do. It's all a psyop, right? And right now, as you can see, with circle right now is 5. We're headed towards that, guys. We are. I mean, I said that in my last video. I said that specifically. I said this. I just had a feeling like that. I'm just thinking, like, why are they, like, if you guys think about it, they slowly built this thing up. I mean, even while the whole, Corona thing was going crazy, they were slowly injecting images of, you know, police against the people, people against the police, or people, you know, the blacks getting killed every month. If y'all go back and look at it, every month, starting January, February, March, every month there was somebody who was killed by the police, right? Whether we know that's 100% truth or not, we don't know. And it's not to be insensitive to real victims of police brutality. We just don't know. You know, we've been lied to for so long, for damn near our whole life. We don't know what's real or not. But I have noticed that. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Leave me a comment in the comment sections below. Let me know. Ever since this year started, you know, like that, you know, Corona thing was taking off and going crazy. That kind of boiled to a head, I would say, in March, when things just went shut down and everything like that. But if you can remember, I might even make a video about this, right? But January, somebody died from police brutality. February, March, April, May, you know, and then they finally brought it to a head with this, you know, George Floyd thing. And there's some disgusting things going on about that too that I'll cover later on in this video of this live exercise that we are in. Guys, this is a live exercise. They are treating us like we are freaking guinea pigs. We're not even people to them. You know, we're just the ones who operate their factories, who press the buttons, or, you know, and then they have the puppets, right? The puppets who are, you know, doing the dirty work, whether it's people in our community, you know, acting like TIs and perping on other people, to the freaking perps that's in these you know, protests, that's inciting riots and paying people to do stuff. And, you know, it's all planned. It's planned out. Which we're headed to the mandatory vaccine, mark of the beast, you know, chip, or however y'all, they're just, guys, it's all planned out. And we are in a live exercise. I just need everybody to realize that and wake up. And if you disagree, leave me a comment in the, you know, in the comments and let me know. I mean, if you guys don't see that this is a live exercise, then hopefully after watching this video, you'll have a different perspective on everything that's been going on. Because I was right, man. I was talking about this on my last video that I posted, and I could tell, you know, everybody who just watched a couple minutes of the clips and just thought that I was exploiting, you know, all of the, you know, backlash or the protests or whatever you guys want to call it, the looting and the rioting. No, it was actually a real message that I had, you know, tried to get across in that last video that I posted. But on this, if you can see right here what this guy is saying, I guess, you know, he's one of the elite, and what he's saying is true. You know, it's actually happening right now in real time. And this guy has said this out of his mouth. These are quotes from this guy's mouth, okay? I'm going to bring down the United States by funding black hate groups. That's exactly what's happening right now. We'll put them all in a mental trap and make them blame white people. Message, right? The black community is the easiest to manipulate. And that's true. I gotta say they are, you know? And it's sad, but it's true. You know, we don't always take a closer look at what's happening. You know, we just see what they're saying on the news or what they're saying in the radio. And look, it's exactly happening just like this guy said, live. People are looting and going crazy. You guys seen this clip. Don't fall for it, guys. This is really happening in real time, and we gotta have eyes to see what's really happening. A live exercise. All right, take a look at this, man. This is freaking insanity. Okay. Now, this isn't some of the most disgusting imagery I have ever seen in my life. I mean, there's very few words to even describe what you're looking at here. Okay. And this is just a preview to what's to come. This is what people are feeding into this, and I can't, I could blame these people for doing this. What you're seeing right now, this is called the George Floyd Challenge. It's not picked up traction yet, but it's predominant in the, how can I explain this without offending people? It's predominant in the racist community, right? I don't know if y'all want to call it the KKK or the Aryan Nation or whatever. They have so many groups. These people are out here. They're moving around in society. They're smiling in your faces. It's even some of these people in the TI community, right? / perp network or whatever y'all want to call it. These people are, they show you who they are. And when they do, believe it the first time you see it, the first time they show you, because this is no laughing matter, psyop or not. You don't make fun of, something like that happening. As you can see, these guys are all white, and anybody that knows me, like, there's not a racist bone in my body. I do not see color. I see beauty. I see, good and evil. That's all I see. That's all my eyes, see out here in this world. But if you look at this is crazy. You guys have to realize that we are in a live exercise, okay? And what these people are doing, you can see on all 4 pictures here. Everybody's got a smile on their face, like this is a laughing matter. Like what's happening to people is a laughing matter. And what's happening here is they are pouring gasoline on the fire with this type of energy, and I expect to see more of it, because they don't want this thing to go away. They want this thing to pick up traction and to keep going. They want that flame to keep burning until, just like my boy John said, they have to create some kind of controversy so they can come with the solution. And we all know what that solution is, right? 2 words. One starts with an M. The second one starts with an L. You guys know, right? So people will see this and then they'll just get upset and just want to go out and punch a white person in the face or something, It's all kinds of psyops going on right now, guys. Please don't participate in any foolishness like this. This is definitely not Christ-like, This demonic energy is running rampant and it's growing by storm, and I can't just blame it on people because I know where the source is coming from. It's the powers that be. They are mind controlling people to do this. They are mind controlling people to have this this prejudiced racist spirit about them. At the same time, it's a learned behavior. It's been around for centuries. And right now we're in 2020. You think people would be past that, but they're not. Okay, and there's people out here who think, this is a game. Like this is a laughing matter, and it's not. If you look at each one of these faces on these 4 slides here, they are having fun with this thing. But if you take a look at what's going on in the world right now, they're not having fun with this thing. People are being hurt. Businesses are being destroyed, all in the name of mind control, hyper game theory, just like my boy Brian 2 said. All right, now what you're looking at now, this is actually a game, okay? And I could easily equate that to life. A lot of people say life is a game, right? The game of life. They actually have the board game Life, right? We're not talking about that game right now in particular. We're talking about this game. It's an Illuminati card game, okay, which also is just basically showing you what is happening in real time, just like how they do with TV shows and Hollywood and movies. They post a lot of truth in there. Like, it's up to us to actually see it, have eyes to see and ears to hear the truth, when we're getting some kind of truth. Because everybody know, this life that we live, it's a lot of confusion, right? It's a lot of manipulation, You know, a lot of psyops going on, right, in real life. But look at these cards here. This is from an actual Illuminati card game that they have, and it's been around for a long time. And as you can see, right, in this particular, I'm just going to scroll through a couple of cards here. We are in a live exercise, guys, okay? I mean, these people, I mean, when I say these people, I mean the elites. I mean the people that's really pulling the strings. They have no compassion or any kind of caring for human life, man. They just want control. They just want to manipulate and, you know, look at this. Goal, kill for peace. Like, that doesn't make any sense, but that's exactly, you know, a part of the manipulation, the mind control that they are hitting people with. And we are seeing this in real time. Okay, look at this, the black activists. I mean, I don't know how long, you know, police have been, you know, mistreating the people in the, you know, poor economic developments or neighborhoods or the hood, or, you know, however you want to describe it. It's been happening for years, okay? Nobody is taking a look at why things is happening the way, why this energy is predominant in those areas, in those specific areas. No, nobody's seeing that, you know, there's mind control being going on, like these frequencies are being beamed in these specific areas. No, nobody's saying that. Nobody's talking anything about that. But we're not focusing on what the root of the problem is. They're just focusing on the problem at hand. And the actual problem is the root, if you ask me, right? But, you know, we see a rise in this, and, you know, people are upset and frustrated. And I understand, you know, I've actually been through some of that myself and experienced that firsthand, you know, growing up in the area that I grew up in, and just, you know, being programmed to think and move and believe certain things. And I mean, look at these cards, guys. Look at that. You know, we are seeing this in real time. There is, I mean, you're seeing it, you know, I mean, depending on what area you are. Some areas are not even affected by this. Like, people are just going on with everyday life, right? And it's the major cities, right? It's the major cities where, you know, they are really shining the spotlight on these things. And you know, this is the last card I'm going to show you, and you guys already know this is what they are pushing for, guys. This is why all of this crap is happening. And when I say all of this crap, I mean from, you know, the sickness to the 5G to the people protesting to the looters. And, you know, it's only going to get worse, if you ask me. Like, honestly, people say, is this the end? I think this is the beginning of the end that we're actually seeing right now. Now, how does all of this coincide with, you know, the organized stalking program that all the, you know, real TIs are enduring through, you know, all over the world? And I'll just give my short opinion on this. And shout out to every real TI that's going through something, man. If anybody understands, it's me. I'm definitely, you know, going through this with you, man. TI lives matter all day. And I'm going to keep saying that. But, you know, if you think about it, it's not just in our backyards here in the U.S. It's all over the world, just like all of this stuff is happening all over the world. And if you think about it, I thought about it, and you know, I come to a conclusion. I believe, yes, we have been used as guinea pigs for research, training, development, research, to roll out mass mind control and manipulation. You know, they tested out, you know, these weapons and mind control and things that we probably don't even have. We don't even, because I know that we don't know 100. Nobody knows 100%, except for the people who are actually doing this behind the scenes. Nobody knows 100%. of how they're doing it and what they're doing, but we do know our own personal, each individual experience that we go through, you know. And it's sad because even with all this crap happening, these people are still harassing us. These people are still stalking with a passion. These people, cyber stalkers, are still hard at work. You know, y'all see them here on YouTube, you know, trying to curb the narrative, and oh, that's a whole nother video. I'll get back to that. But I feel like this has been an ongoing thing, and it's done so covertly, you know, like they're not, you know, they're not trying to speak out about these injustices. That's what's been happening to people. But I did find something where, you know, our government publicly admitted their wrongdoings in the earlier stages of this program. I want you guys to check out this clip, man, and let me know what you think about, you know, this in the comments. But they are basically admitting, you know, we were doing experiments. We were zapping people with directed energy weapons. They didn't come out and say it in those words, but they said it. And vowed to compensate, you know, all the victims, all the real TIs. I don't know how that went, you know, if those people were compensated or what, but and it's not even from our era, man. This is back in the 90s when this happened. Guys, check out this admittance of our American government of the crimes that has been committed in another live exercise. That's why I said, you know, all the real TIs, our life is a live exercise. I mean, I don't know. Guys, check this out and let me know what you think.
With us are many family members of citizens who were subject to human radiation experiment, and some of the advocates who represent them. Their presence signifies that this administration's commitment to meeting our obligations of power, our willingness to share information, to respect the right of people to know the facts, the responsibility to limit secrecy, and that which is truly essential, and that is to make those who were wronged and harmed whole.
Mr. President, Secretary O'Leary, Attorney General Reno, Secretary Shalala, other members of the Human Radiation Interagency Working Group, on behalf of my 13 colleagues on the Advisory Committee, I am proud to submit our final report. We worked extremely hard over the last 18 months in order to inform you and the American people about what really happened to radiation research subjects in the Cold War period. With the assistance of federal agencies, private research centers and hospitals, and numerous citizens, we have assembled and reviewed hundreds of thousands of documents, many of which were previously secret, in 31 days of open hearings conducted in Washington and throughout the country. We have heard from hundreds of public witnesses. We have found that wrongs were indeed committed, both with experiments involving radiation and with intentional releases of radiation into the environment. In the pursuit of peace and the advancement of medicine, certainly two laudable goals, the rights and interests of individuals and communities were sometimes ignored. We found that government officials and physicians who had the trust of the public and of their patients abused that trust. Patients were used as subjects of experiments without their knowledge or consent. Information was withheld from affected communities and from the public. Secrets were kept to protect the government from embarrassment and legal liability. While the radiation doses in the experiments we studied were usually low, and officials and scientists were often concerned about risk, we do not believe that excuses the wrongs that were done. You have recognized the price of secrecy in research for what it is, a legacy of cynicism, and a legacy of distrust. If we are to keep faith with those who have suffered, we must do everything possible to guarantee that what happened to them never happens again. The committee learned that research safeguards have come a long way since the Second World War. Americans can and should feel much more secure about medical research today, but the system remains imperfect. I urge you to carefully review the committee's findings and recommendations. Both the government and research institutions must do all they can to protect our fellow citizens. If this committee's work is to mean anything, it has to be that 50 years from now, there does not have to be another presidential committee charged with investigating allegations of abuses of human subjects.
With the specter of an atomic war looming like Armageddon, far nearer than it does today, the United States government actually did carry out on our citizens experiments involving radiation. That's when I ordered the creation of this committee. Dr. Faden and the others did a superb job. They enlisted many of our nation's most significant and important medical and scientific ethicists. They had to determine first whether experiments conducted or sponsored by our government between 1944 and 1974 met the ethical and scientific standards of that time and of our time. And then they had to see to it that our research today lives up to nothing less than our highest values and our most deeply held beliefs. From the beginning, it was obvious to me that this energetic committee was prepared to do its part. We declassified thousands of pages of documents. We gave committee members the keys to the government's doors, file cabinets, and safes. For the last year and a half, the only thing that stood between them and the truth were all the late nights and hard work they had to put in. This report I received today is a monumental document in more ways than one. But it is a very, very important piece of America's history, and it will shape America's future in ways that will make us a more honorable, more successful, and more ethical country. What this committee learned, I would like to review today with a little more detail than Dr. Faden said, because I think it must be engraved on our national memory. Thousands of government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation. The goal was to understand the effects of radiation exposure on the human body. While most of the tests were ethical by any standards, some were unethical, not only by today's standards, but by the standards of the time in which they were conducted. They failed both the test of our national values and the test of humanity. In one scientist injected plutonium into 18 patients without their knowledge. In another, doctors exposed indigent cancer patients to excessive doses of radiation, a treatment from which it is virtually impossible that they could ever benefit. The report also demonstrates that these and other experiments were carried out on precisely those citizens who count most on the government for its help, the destitute and the gravely ill. But the dispossessed were not alone. Members of the military, precisely those on whom we and our government count most, they were also test subjects. Informed consent means your doctor tells you the risk of the treatment you are about to undergo. In too many cases, informed consent was withheld. Americans were kept in the dark about the effects of what was being done to them. The deception extended beyond the test subjects themselves to encompass their families and the American people as a whole. For these experiments were kept secret, and they were shrouded not for a compelling reason of national security, but for the simple fear of embarrassment. And that was wrong. Those who led the government when these decisions were made are no longer here to take responsibility for what they did. They're not here to apologize to the survivors, the family members of the communities whose lives were darkened by the shadow of the atom and these choices. So today, on behalf of another generation of American leaders and another generation of American citizens, the United States of America offers a sincere apology to those of our citizens who were subjected to these experiments, to their families, and to their communities. When the government does wrong, we have a moral responsibility to admit it. The duty we owe to one another to tell the truth and to protect our fellow citizens from excesses like these is one we can never walk away from. Our government failed in that duty, and it offers an apology to the survivors and their families, and to all the American people who must be able to rely upon the United States to keep its word, to tell the truth, and to do the right thing. We know there are moments when words alone are not enough. That's why I'm instructing my cabinet to use and build on these recommendations, to devise promptly a system of relief, including compensation that meets the standards of justice and conscience. When called for, we will work with Congress to serve the best needs of those who were harmed. Make no mistake, as the committee report says, there are circumstances where compensation is appropriate as a matter of ethics and principle. I am committed to seeing to it that the United States of America lives up to its responsibility. Our greatness is measured not only in how we so frequently do right, but also how we act when we know we've done the wrong thing, how we confront our mistakes, make our apologies, and take action. That's why this morning I signed an executive order instructing every arm and agency of our government that conducts, supports, or regulates research involving human beings to review immediately their procedures in light of the recommendations of this report and the best knowledge and standards available today, and to report back to me by Christmas. I have also created a bioethics advisory commission to supervise the process, to watch over all such research, and to see to it that never again do we stray from the basic values of protecting our people and being straight with them. The report I received today will not be left on a shelf to gather dust. Every one of its pages offers a lesson, and every lesson will be learned from these good people who put 1.5 years of their lives into the effort to set America straight. Medical and scientific progress depends upon learning about people's responses to new medicines, to new cutting-edge treatments. Without this kind of research, our children would still be dying from polio and other killers. Without responsible radiation research, we wouldn't be making the progress we are in the war on cancer. We have to continue the research, but there is a right way and a wrong way to do it. There are local citizens review boards. There are regulations that establish proper informed consent and ensure that experiments are conducted ethically. But in overseeing this necessary research, we must never relax our vigilance. The breathtaking advances in science and technology demand that we always keep our ethical watchlight burning. No matter how rapid the pace of change, it can never outrun our core convictions that have stood us so well as a nation for more than 200 years now, through many different scientific revolutions. I believe we will meet the test of our times, that as science and technology evolve, our ethical conscience will grow, not shrink. Informed consent, community right to know, our entire battery of essential human protections, all these grew up in response to the health and humanitarian crises of this 20th century. They are proof that we are equal to our challenges. Science is not ever simply objective. It emerges from the crucible of historical circumstances and personal experience. Times of crisis and fear can call forth bad science, even science we know in retrospect to be unethical. Let us remember the difficult years chronicled in this report and think about how good people could have done things that we know were wrong. Let these pages serve as an internal reminder to hold humility and moral accountability in higher esteem than we do the latest development in technology. Let us remember, too, that cynicism about government has roots in historical circumstances.
Now, I'm not sure what happened back in that era, because I got to say that was the 90s when Bill Clinton was president, where, you know, the TIs who were suffering back in that time, where they brought the information to that forefront. But whatever bills was passed or whatever to end those experiments did not work. Did not, you know what I mean? Like, they just went more deeper underground and more covert and, you know, remixed whatever they were doing and came with a whole new approach, because people are still suffering. People are still targeted. People are still going through this thing, including myself, every day of every year. We don't get a break. You know, every time we turn around, it's constant, you know, stalking, harassment, directed energy weapons. Like, we literally can't breathe. And there's no physical foot on our neck, right? Guys, this is crazy, man. I mean, the more you dig, the more you find out that this world ain't what we thought it was when we were kids growing up. It's not anything remotely close to what we were taught it is. Guys, we are living in a live exercise. You see everything that's going on around you, you know. And imagine, you know, being a real TI and dealing with that, all of this pandemic, all of this crap that's going on top of the harassment and covert torture and all of these experiments that we're going through. God help us. We need your help. We need your help. We need to pray against these things, man. And if you are suffering, it's not your fault. Know that it's not your fault. And give it to God and take it a day at a time. Guys, we are living in a live exercise. If you disagree with me, feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section, or, you know, in the comment. Yeah, leave me a comment. Let me know. And, you know, I'll see you guys on the next video. I'll have more insight and info to give. This is an ongoing fight, ongoing battle, man. But I'm very curious to know, how did they get that information to surface to the point where in that era President Clinton was led to do a press conference and denounce and apologize, you know? And it's kind of like, you know, I know for the TIs who were going through, I wonder, were they compensated? Does anybody know? has anybody heard about this? We do know that these experiments kept going, and not only did they kept going, they picked up traction, and they upgraded them, and took on new form and new life, and people are still suffering. These experiments are still being funded through them. I mean, guys, that's a whole nother video. I don't want to talk your head off, man. But I'm just curious to see, like, we need to dig into this a little bit more and get some more information on this stuff, man. But yeah, this is definitely a live exercise. I will be back with more insider info. It's your boy Nexx, and I'll see you on the next one, man. I'm out of here.